guys, welcome to my channel. My name is ReadingBear and I hope you are ready for some more stories. And today, we'll take a look at some new entitled people content. If you enjoyed my content, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and post some bear emojis in the comment. And now, let's dive right into the stories.
The first story is titled, The False Accusation. It was a regular day when I found a car ad online that seemed too good to be true. A luxury car for only a third of its blue book value, and all it needed was a few easy fixes. My husband, a mechanic, was interested, so we decided to check it out. Upon inspection, my husband found some potential problems but deemed them easy to fix. We decided to buy the car, and our youngest was thrilled to receive a luxury car for their graduation. However, things took a dramatic turn when we went to the DMV to register the car. As my husband was putting the temporary tags on, a lady approached us, claiming that the car was hers. She said that we had stolen the car from her after she had an agreement with the previous owner. We were shocked by the false accusation and tried to explain that we had bought the car from the previous owner, fair and square. The lady became irate and called the police, claiming that we had stolen her car. 2 police cruisers arrived, and the previous owner of the car showed up at the same time. She confirmed that she had no agreement with the crazy lady and that she was just a neighbor who was constantly asking about the car. The officers checked our IDs, bill of sale, previous registration, and ran the VIN, finding everything in order. The officers told the lady that she had attempted to file a false report, and they could charge her with attempted car theft. The situation was diffused, and the lady was left yelling and screaming as she was put in the back of the police car. After the incident, we were left shaken but glad that the truth prevailed. However, we didn't know that the lady was not one to let things go. A few weeks later, we received a threatening letter from her demanding that we return the car and pay her double the amount that we had bought it for. We were scared but decided to ignore it and hoped that the issue would resolve on its own. However, a few days later, we received another letter, but this time it was from our local news station. They had picked up on the story and wanted to interview us for their news segment on false accusations. We agreed to the interview and told our side of the story, hoping that it would clear our name. The segment aired, and we were shocked by the response. Many people reached out to us, offering support and sharing similar stories of false accusations. The crazy lady was exposed, and her reputation was ruined. She was arrested and charged for attempted car theft and filing a false report. In the end, justice was served, and we learned to be cautious when buying things online. We were grateful for the support of our community and happy that we could put the incident behind us. Our youngest was still excited to have their luxury car, and we were happy to have our peace of mind back. The next story is titled, Forcing Someone to Live Up to Their Threatening Promise. It was January 2022. A new wave of COVID hit, and it devastated the workforce in the major cities here. On average, about half the workforce for any industry was homesick for about a week at the same time. Shelves in supermarkets weren't stocked because there weren't enough workers to keep them full. The number of bus routes were cut in half. The list goes on. At my retail store, all but 2 of us were sick. With 2 people on staff, we couldn't get to everything, so we had to decide what parts of the job we'd neglect. Most of our revenue is from online sales, so we decided to close the store and focus on dispatching online orders. We still had to answer phone calls and emails though, so we were very stressed. This was only happening in the major cities, of course. More rural locations dodged the major disruptions. One day, I got a call from a customer. He placed an online order the day prior, paid for express post, but noticed it hadn't been sent. He called, asked why it hadn't been sent. I looked on his account, and saw he lived in a rural town hours away. This was the conversation. Customer. Hi, I placed an order yesterday with express post. Why hasn't it been sent yet? Me. Very sorry, there's only 2 of us on staff because of COVID and we are doing the best we can to keep up with the online orders. Customer. But I paid for express. Me. Yes, and as I explained, there's only 2 of us on staff, we've had to close the store, and there's a lot of orders to pack and we pack them from oldest to newest, we're trying our best. Customer. Well, your best isn't good enough. I paid for express, it should have been sent out by now. My best wasn't good enough. What an absolute piece of shit. At this point, I had dealt with enough stress, so I let him have it. Me. Paying for express doesn't mean we pack the order faster, it means that once the courier has it, they deliver it to you faster. That extra money you spent doesn't go to me or this company, it goes to the courier. There are orders older than yours, they have priority, they have waited longer than you and will be packed first. Customer. I don't care, you need to ship it today. Me. I can't promise that. Do you have any idea what COVID has done to the workforce here? Customer. No, and I don't care. If you don't ship my order today, I promise I'll never shop with you again. I genuinely laughed out loud at that. Me. I literally could not care less, it's no skin off my nose. At that point, I hung up. For the entree of my revenge, I purposely skipped his order even though I caught up to it. It got sent the next day. The main course though, that was tasty. I blocked his account so he couldn't shop with us again. He promised he wouldn't, so I wanted to make sure he didn't break his promise. He tried to though. He made another account. I recognized the name, and confirmed it was him through the shipping address. I cancelled the order and processed the refund. For revenge's dessert, I did something truly petty. When you process a refund, you reverse the payment made by the debit card. You can put a note in it when you do so the customer knows why that money is reappearing in their bank. The note I put was, to help you keep your promise. The next story is titled, Don't want to tell me what that parking ticket is for? Okay, I'll get that ticket thrown out in court, along with jeopardizing any ticket the city wrote on that same form. TLDR. Way too long way of saying I got a parking ticket. Wasn't satisfied with an answer to a basic question about the violation. Fought it in court and won, with the judge ruling that every ticket the city had written on that form was suspect. The ticket. This was mid to late 90s in a northern Midwest, mid-sized city. Parking near my apartment near a university was only on street parking. Bad in the best of times, it got miserable in winter with alternate side parking eliminating half the parking on major streets such as where my apartment was. Failing to find any parking, some nights I would risk it. Sometimes I got a ticket. Sometimes not, but at least I typically knew why I got the ticket, until one morning. I was cited for violation number 27. I had no idea what that was all about. It wasn't an alternate side violation. Not an expired meter issue. Not a loading zone thing. I just didn't know what it was. What did I do wrong? I went by the office to pay the ticket and I asked the clerk, by the way, what is violation number 27? I don't know and don't want to get ticketed for whatever it is again. Her reply set me off, we don't have to tell you. Excuse me? I took my check out of her hand and picked up my ticket. It was the 90s. I told you it was a long time ago. We used to write out little slips of paper called checks that the recipient could take it to the bank and deposit. Half you kids reading Reddit have probably never written a check. I'm old. Sue me. Now get off my lawn. I asked her who could tell me. She shrugged. Maybe the prosecutor's office, she replied. I left. Ticket unpaid. I stopped by the prosecutor's office, ticket in hand, to ask. I apologized to the receptionist for such a ridiculous waste of time. I just wanted to know. And she rolled her eyes at me. I got nowhere there. Digging in my heels, doing legal research. For a poor recent college grad, I certainly wasn't going to waste my money with a lawyer but was hard-headed enough to want to know what violation number 27 was before I paid it. I resolved to go to the public library and pull out the law books with the city ordinances and state statutes. Library, a physical building with actual printed books where people used to have to go to look up information before everything was online. I'm old. I told you. And stay off my lawn. I settled in, flipped through pages, cross-referenced ordinances and statutes, and found something interesting. Possibly it was very interesting. I checked the court date on the ticket and made up my mind. I would damn well fight City Hall. Court time. I showed up in court. Some paperwork was handed out to those of us who were present. Just before it was to be my turn, the prosecutor graciously offered to let me pay the ticket plus court costs to make this go away. It is a damn parking ticket. I'm already here. Why bother? After waiting my turn, I stepped before the judge. The judge said a few things. The prosecutor said a few things. And then it was my turn. Your Honor, I move to dismiss the ticket based upon a due process violation on the 14th Amendment. I think that prosecutor might have gotten whiplash, her neck snapped so fast. I told my story. I just want to know what violation number 27 is. I looked. It's not in the law books. Not in the city ordinances. I am being charged with something without being told what it is. And the judge smiled a bit, turned to the prosecutor, and said, "I've been waiting for someone to bring this up." The prosecutor's jaw dropped. "Your Honor," I went on, "state statute requires certain elements to be on any citation for it to be valid. Among those things is a citation to statute or ordinance. And there are a couple other issues with the ticket. It does not conform to the statutory requirements for a citation." Quote, "The judge turned to me and asked if I had the ticket. Yes ma'am, I do. And she asked if I had the paperwork that was handed out when I arrived in court. I did. And then the good judge took a few moments to walk us through that paperwork to show that neither the parking ticket nor the paperwork contained the requisite statutory elements for a citation or summons. Then the judge advised she would take the matter under advisement." The verdict. A few weeks later I got a big manila envelope in the mail with the judge's order. In clearly written legalese she went step by step through my argument, the requirements in statute and ordinance, and the utter failure of the city to write a single valid parking ticket on their standard form in many years. Years ago, parking enforcement officers actually took a pen and physically wrote in ink on a 3-part pre-printed parking ticket form. Barbaric, I know. They didn't have handheld computers to print them out. This was just a few years after we figured out that banging 2 rocks can make a spark to start a fire. I told you I'm old. And what did I tell you about staying off my lawn? She detailed that the city, to allow their parking enforcement officers to write tickets faster, used their own list of violation numbers, expired meter as number 1, no parking zone as number 2. That did not correspond to any section numbers of the statute or ordinance. If you didn't have the list, you just might not know. And the judge threw out my parking ticket as a due process violation of the 14th Amendment. Oh, and that violation number 27 was parking too close to a handicapped ramp. I didn't see it under the snow. My bad. Didn't matter. I had moved out of town by then. The last story is titled, "Try to Ruin My Marriage? I'll Get You Fired." This all happened within the span of about 3 months. It all started towards the end of December. This girl at work decided to post and text my husband that I was cheating on him with her baby daddy. Obviously, it wasn't true, but she claimed to have pictures. She sent it to his brothers and even my mother-in-law. None of the pictures were of me and they had no face or any distinguishing features that would make it obvious it was me. All of this made my husband doubt me because if someone sends stuff like that you question if it's true or not. This caused a lot of trouble in our marriage, but we talked it out and eventually worked through it. I mentioned she had sent the messages to my mother-in-law. She sent them all at the same time, but I wasn't aware of the messages to my mother-in-law. It wasn't until almost a month later that my sister-in-law messaged me and said she wanted to ask me something. She was afraid I would be mad, but she said someone had sent my mill some nasty messages about me. I immediately knew what she was talking about and asked if it was certain person. She confirmed that it was, so I explained everything that was happening. I was going to let it go, but when I found out she had also messaged Mill I just got more angry and decided she needed to face some consequences. It's important to note she also posted some nasty stuff about another coworker I'm friends with, so I talked to her, and we decided I should report it to HR. They did a full investigation in which I gave them screenshots of what she posted and what she sent my husband's family. Some of the things sent were very inappropriate and not something HR would like to be associated with the organization. Fast forward to now, they finally concluded the investigation and found what she did inappropriate, and she was fired. I don't feel any remorse for her and I'm glad she got what she deserved because what she did almost cost me my marriage and mine and my friend's reputation at work. What makes me most happy is that because she was fired over something she did, she won't be able to receive unemployment benefits. Good luck taking care of her family now. Edit. Hi guys, so I'm posting an edit to address some questions a lot of you guys have. First of all, I was definitely not expecting so many people to read it and reply. 1. How did she get their numbers? She didn't. All this was through social media. She went to their accounts and messaged them. 2. Why did I only decide to report it when I learned she sent it to Mill? I was busy dealing with a newborn and a toddler, I just didn't want to have to deal with it. But once I found that out and after talking to my other coworker, we decided we couldn't just sit back and do nothing. 3. Why did she target me? She didn't only target me. In the screenshots I got of what she sent I saw she had other pictures of other girls as well. She only sent the ones that she couldn't directly link to anyone else. One of the pictures she sent claiming it was me had a completely different username than mine on social media. When my husband asked her how she knew it was me, she said she didn't know if it was me. She also blocked out some other pictures in the screenshot she sent, so when he questioned her about who that was or why she blocked it, she refused to say anything. Fun fact, I mentioned in a comment he used to be into me. She was actually one of the people encouraging me to pursue things with him like 6 years ago. This guy had already cheated on an ex and got someone pregnant long before I even met them. She still decided he was a good option to have kids with, and now they have more than one together. 4. How did she get those pictures of me? I post a lot of selfies, so it's not hard for anyone to just save them on their phone. From now on I'm keeping my things private and not post anything anymore. 5. It does sound fake because of how it blew up, but I promise it's true. Whether you believe it or not is up to you guys. 6. Her kids will be fine. Baby daddy is in the picture, and last I knew he had a good job. It's not their fault their parents are a mess. 7. My husband has major trust issues because of his previous relationship. He was with someone, and they had 2 kids. Turns out the kids weren't his, so even the most innocent message he sees he thinks it's a red flag. It's something I know he needs to get help with because I'm honestly tired of having to deal with the aftermath of what she did to him. 8. About my Reddit standards comment, I see a lot of people getting picked apart because of how they write lol. Thank you for listening.